Welcome to the Best Me podcast. Your best tomorrow starts today. I'm your host, Ellen Livingston. I believe showing up each and every day as the best version of myself doesn't happen on accident. It takes awareness and planning. On this podcast, I talk about planning for ways to improve my health, develop a sense of purpose in everyday life, and create meaningful connections so I can be the best me I can be. And so can you. Let's get started. Hey there, besties. It's me, Ellen. Let me ask you a question. Would you make your bed every day if you lived alone? Now, I know this is an unusual question, but my friend Gail asked me this the other day, and I didn't even hesitate for a second. Of course I would. And the reason I make my bed every day is it's like I give myself a gift. I love at the end of the day, when I'm tired and ready to go to bed, to walk into a bedroom that is neat and clean and has a beautifully made bed, and I can slip into those sheets and get a great night's sleep. So it's something that I do for myself, whether I lived alone or not. Now, this got me thinking. There's a book called Make Your Bed, Little Things That Can Change Your Life and Maybe the World by William H. McGravin. Now, William H. McGravin is a retired Navy 4-star admiral. He is the former chancellor at the University of Texas, and he wrote a book after giving a commencement speech that went viral. He combined what he learned in the Navy that made him successful with the University of Texas's motto, and their motto is, "What starts here changes the world." And in the Navy, the very first thing you have to do every day is make your bed. And so in his speech on how to be successful, he started with, make your bed, because he believes it sets you up for success, because by making your bed, you've accomplished at least one thing already that day, and it will spill over into the rest of your day. Now, I know some people feel it's a waste of time because you're just going to mess it up again that night. But what if you applied that logic to other things in your life, like, why wash my hair? It's going to be dirty tomorrow. Why iron my clothes? They're just going to be wrinkled later. Why put gas in my car? I'm just going to use it all up. Now, I know that's silly, but you get the point. That logic doesn't make sense. By taking care of your space, you really say a lot about how you feel about yourself. Everyone likes a clean, organized, warm, and inviting space to call home. And everyone deserves that. Now, I know keeping your home or apartment picked up and clean and organized is work. And in fact, I hate to say this, it's never-ending work. But don't let that get you down or make you feel overwhelmed. Look at it this way. Because it's never ending, because you never ever really get finished, you really are never behind. It's always just a work in progress. Now, I was reading on the Golden Gate Bridge's website. Yep, the Golden Gate Bridge has its own website. It's goldengate.org if you want to look it up. Anyway, I was reading about the maintenance on this bridge. And did you know that they are continuously painting that bridge? Now, I don't mean they start at one end, paint to the other, then have to go back to the beginning and start over again. They get it all painted. But there is always some part that they are always painting. And that's because I think they need to protect it from the high salt content that's in the air, because the bridge does get corroded and will rust if they don't keep it painted. So think of your home like the Golden Gate Bridge. It's never done, and that's okay. It's part of life. Now, does that make cleaning your home easier? Maybe, maybe not. But honestly, when I was younger, I got so overwhelmed with work and young kids that I would come home at the end of the day and I would be so worn down, I did not want to clean my house. And I fell into that trap of why even try to clean? It's just going to be messy tomorrow. But like most things in my life, when I get to the point where I think something has got to change, I realize what needs to change is me. And in this case, It was my attitude towards cleaning my space. And I changed my attitude from a never ending and sometimes thankless, dreaded chore to a chance to bless my space. Now, you may have heard of the Chinese practice of feng shui, and it's the belief that how you arrange and clean your home kind of helps the energy flow through the house. Now, there may be something to that because you know how when you walk into a chaotic and messy room, how it makes you feel? You don't feel that great. You don't get this warm, inviting feeling. And so there may be some truth to that energy. But anyway, this blessing my space attitude made me realize I deserved a clean, organized, comfortable place to come home to each day. A place that made me feel safe and calm, not stressed and depressed. And this attitude change from a chore that I dreaded to a chance to bless my space made all the difference in the world on how I felt about cleaning my home. And because it's never ending, my house is never in a constant state of being clean, except maybe like if I'm having a party or guests staying with me, I'll get it all picked up then. But typically, most of my house is picked up, but there is some part that might need some work. And it's this way because I follow a cleaning system. Now, I know this sounds a little OCD, but hear me out. A few years back, my principal, Kara Fleming, introduced me to a book called Sink Reflections by Marla Siley. Now, she was probably the first home organizing, cleaning guru I'd ever heard of. This was back in like 2007. She has a website called flylady.net. She actually teaches fly fishing. But in her book, Marla wrote about her depression and how her life was a mess. Her house was a mess. It sounded like it was just stacked with stuff all over and she couldn't ever find anything. And it was so bad, she couldn't make herself do anything. And she really didn't even know where to start. So she decided to get started that she would not go to bed with dirty dishes in her sink. So she washed her dishes and she got her sink all cleaned up. She knew that she would have that one thing cleaned when she got up the next day. Now, this kind of reminds me of what William McGravin said. Start with making your bed. Start with one small thing. And from this, Marla divided her home into sections. And so she cleans one section every day. So like one day she may work in her bathroom. The next day she may work in her living room. The day after that, she may work in her bedroom. So you get the idea. She divides her house into sections. And it was so bad at first that she couldn't even clean up a whole room. She would set a timer for 15 minutes and she would go in there and work. And then she would stop. And the next day she would go to the next section, start the timer, and work for 15 minutes like that. And over time, she got her whole house cleaned and organized, and she really, truly changed her life. Now, if you do go on her website, I want to warn you, she does way more than I could ever get into. But I love the part about dividing your house into sections, and I still do this to this day. And by doing just a little bit of work every day, you don't have to spend all day like on Saturday or Sunday trying to get your whole house cleaned up. Now, I know in my previous episodes, I talked about having a purpose to get up for each and every day. And on that episode, I talked about how our jobs give our lives purpose. But taking care of the space you live in is a purpose to get up for every day because you deserve a warm and welcoming, clean, organized home. And it can become part of your best me lifestyle. So if your space that you call home makes you stressed or depressed, maybe start with just cleaning your sink tonight or make your bed first thing tomorrow morning. Take William H. McGravin and Marla Siley's advice and do one small action. And you may be surprised how you can change your life. Now that's all I have for today, besties. Be kind, be positive, and be your best. And remember, small progress is still progress. Thanks for listening to the Best Me podcast. If you would like to make a comment, suggest a podcast topic, or just say hi, send me an email at bestmepodcast@gmail.com. I hope you'll join me next week as I continue to talk about how to be the best me I can be. This episode was edited by Adam Boatwright. If you need any help with music, audio and video editing, or digital arts, be sure and check him out at adamboatwright.com. That's ADAMBOATRIGHT.com.